עירובין פרק ט' משנה א'. כבר הזכרנו, we already mentioned, שכלים ששבתו בחצר, what about a vessel that you left in the courtyard? מותר לטלטל, I'm not even sure it's talking about the courtyard, it might be your yard. מותר לטלטלם בשבת בכל החצר. You're allowed to move them on Shabbat, the entire, no, it's a courtyard. Yeah, it is courtyard.
What if they didn't do a roof?
Then they can't. Then they can't.
אז למה הוא אומר שהוא כן?
Let's see. בכל החצר, in all the courtyard, אפילו כשלא ירבו דיירי החצר ביניהם. Even when the residents did not make an eruv between them. So let's make...
Why is it because you don't take it out of the house?
The חצר is a רשות בפני עצמו. Think about it like this.
If they don't have eruv בחצר, how can you carry from one?
Because it's not one, it's one חצר. It's one courtyard. The courtyard is one domain.
Even though it belongs to all of them.
It belongs to all of them. They didn't make, no one will make an eruv, so no one is allowed to take from the vessel into their house. In the courtyard, it's one domain.
Okay.
Yeah? In the courtyard, it's one domain. So if you left the vessel outside, that vessel can move the entire courtyard from one area to another area to another area. You know, think about you and your brother, right? There's a chair somewhere in the courtyard, and you didn't make an eruv. But the chair belongs to the courtyard, so you can move the chair all around the property. Yeah? Except you're not allowed to put it into the house.
Because this is a different reshut. This reshut is the same.
Considered one, yeah. ולא תקנו חכמים, so the reason why the sages set עירובי חצרות, the eruv for the courtyards, אלא כדי שיהיה מותר לדיירים להוציא ולהכניס מבתיהם לחצר ומביתו של זה לביתו של זה. So the only idea of eruv is that people are going to be able to carry from their house to the courtyard, from the courtyard to the house, or from one house to another house. That was the idea. משנתן דנה בכלים ששבתו על גג או בחצר. Now we're going to deal vessels that were on your roof or on the courtyard, yeah, on Shabbat. אם מותר לטלטלה מגג לגג או מחצר לחצר, ונחלקו בזה תנאים. If you're allowed to move them from one roof to another roof, from one courtyard to another courtyard, and over here the sages are going to have disagreements. Just to have practical application of this, because it's hard to imagine. Don't think about today. Don't think about today's cities, or even today's, over here in Tucson. It will not register well. Think about old Yerushalayim. You know how all the houses are right next to each other, or Tzfat. You know, they're built right next to each other, and one roof goes to another roof, goes to another roof, goes to another roof. Yeah? Think about it this way, because it's very hard to imagine it in our days. Yeah? So think about old cities, like Akko, you know, like those cities. Okay. So, first opinion, כל גגות העיר רשות אחת. All the roofs of the city is one domain. Yeah?
Because they're close?
It's like almost like a courtyard. Think about it. The roofs are right next to each other. And it's almost like a highway. You can walk. You can do whatever you want from one roof to another roof. Now, but it's not regular code. I don't know if he's going to mention it, but I think it's not talking about a roof that you live on. It's a roof that you know, the roof that belong. No. It can be private houses. It's a private house, another private house, another private.
The roof belongs.
Yeah, but over here,
one tenant.
Yeah.
In the house.
Let's make it easy. Yeah, let's make it easy. Yeah. No. One tenant in the house. Old city.
Okay.
The old city. One tenant. You know, one tenant. And nobody, we're not talking about the case because we discussed it before that people live on the roof. Over here, people they don't live on the roof. It's a proper roof. Yeah. Okay. כל גגות העיר רשות אחת. All the ceilings, not ceiling, roofs of the city is one domain. Oh, he says, שואיל ואין תשמישם תדיר. It's as long as you don't use them continuously. It's, sometimes you use it, but not continuously. והם למעלה מ10 טפחים, and because they are higher than 10 טפחים, אין בהם דין חילוקי רשויות. We don't distinction between your roof and my roof. ומותר לטלטלם כלים ששבתו בגג זה לגג אחר. And if you left a vessel on one roof, you're allowed to walk with that vessel the entire city. From next roof to the next. It's considered to be one courtyard.
But you're talking about taking down from the roof or?
No. Roof to roof. Roof to roof. אף על פי שהדיירים לא ערבו ביניהם, even though the residents themselves did not make an עירוב. וכן בכל גגות העיר מגג לגג, all the roofs of the city from one roof to another. שכל הגגות דינם כחצר אחת גדולה. Just like we said the thing about the courtyard, so is the roofs. The roofs are considered to be one big courtyard. שאפילו אינה מעורבת, that even though this courtyard doesn't have an עירוב, מותר לטלטל בכולה כלים ששבתו בה. If there's a vessel on one of the place in the courtyard, you're allowed to move it to another place of the courtyard, כמו שהזכרנו, like we mentioned before. As long as what? ובלבד שלא יהיה גג גבוה 10 טפחים מגגות החירום. As long as you don't have one roof higher than another roof, 10 טפחים.
So you have to have
some kind of level. Yeah, it has to be level to some degree. But the truth is, I don't even think that it's a problem. It could be 10 טפחים more. It's still the same domain. So why did it bring? Who cares about 10 טפחים? It's not the ground. It's above 10 טפחים. So what do I care? So let's see.
different level.
או נמוך 10, or lower than 10 טפחים מהם, שאז אסור לטלטל ממנו לשאר הגגות ומשאר הגגות אליו. Then you're not allowed to carry from such a roof to other roofs or from other roofs to such a roof, if it's more than 10 טפחים difference. This is דברי רבי מאיר. This is the words of Rabbi Meir. בגמרא מבואר טעמו, the Gemara explains his reasoning, שהיה רבי מאיר אומר, that רבי מאיר said, כל מקום שאתה מוצא שתי רשויות והן רשות אחת, every time you find two domains, but they're actually one domain, for example, כגון עמוד רחב, like a wide pillar, 4 על 4 טפחים, 4 on 4, וגבוה 10, and high 10, דינו כרשות היחיד הוא. It is considered to be like private domain. We already discussed this. והוא עומד בחצר שאף היא רשות היחיד. And a person is standing in his domain, that it's also a private domain. אסור לקטף על אותו עמוד מן החצר. You're not allowed to put an object onto that pillar from the courtyard. So let's talk about it practically. If you're walking in the street, right, and there's a pillar over there, if the pillar is wide enough, it's considered to be its own domain. So when you're putting in the street and you have like a backpack and you need to just put it over there for 1 second, you're not allowed to, because you're placing it from one domain to another domain. Because this is the way on the street down there, they're afraid if we let you do it on the roofs, when there's more than 10 טפחים up, you're going to come. Exactly. So it's actually one domain over there, but because it looks like it's two domains, and you might, so we're going to tell you, don't do it.
Rabbi Meir said no.
היינו, לעלות עליו מסע כדי לתנוע אחר כך על הכתף. In other words, you put on it or even it's easier, to put it straight on a high place and then to come and put it on your shoulder. גזרה, this is a decree. He says it actually should be permitted, even though it's 10 טפחים away, but this is a decree, משום תל רחב 4 וגבוה 10 טפחים ברשות הרבים. We make a decree because maybe you're going to have a different domain in the public domain, which is 10 טפחים tall and 4 טפחים wide. כלומר, שמא הרועי יהיה סבור, because if the person is going to see the people on the roofs putting it from one roof to another roof higher than 10 טפחים, כשם שמותר לקטף על העמוד בחצר, כך מותר לקטף על עמוד כזה אף ברשות הרבים. They're going to think, you're not also allowed to do that in the public domain. שהרי גם החצר של רשות הרבים היא, because it's exactly the same as the courtyard. ואף בגגות, and also in the on the roofs. כל שהוא גבוה מחברו 10 טפחים, הרי כעמוד. Anything that is above 10 טפחים, it is like the pillar. וגוזר בו רבי מאיר משום תל ברשות הרבים. רבי מאיר says, because people are going to make this mistake, I'm going to disallow the 10 טפחים, even though it should be allowed. It's one domain. חכמים disagree. חכמים אומרים, very logical, חכמים says, yeah. כל אחד ברשות של פלצה. So what are you talking about? Every house, your roof is your roof. That's, by the way, that's the question. Is the roof yours or not yours? Until we, or
Unless you have few tenants, but if you one tenant guy,
let's talk even in America. Until where is the property yours?
The air?
Yeah.
You mean the air? I don't remember. There is also a mark of the air.
Oh, so that's exactly the thing. It says your property is yours until the roof. Above the roof, it's not yours anymore. Your property.
My air condition is sitting above the roof.
So it's above the air condition.
Oh, you mean until your stuff?
Until your stuff finished. That's it. After that, it's not your roof. It's not yours anymore. That's what they're saying. It's not so illogical, Rabbi Meir. It makes sense to some degree.
To some degree, if you really look, if you look at your neighborhood, and let's say all the roofs are flat, and more or less that they are same height, you can almost walk from one roof to the other.
Yeah.
In your neighborhood.
Yeah.
You put a 2x4 and you walk there.
Yeah.
It's like that much.
Yeah.
That I can understand in a way because they're all.
Exactly, and especially think about old Yerushalayim. They probably used the roofs as highways. Yeah, the people actually probably used. Yeah. Yeah, they probably run the roofs. Yeah. So think about that's why I say it's hard to think these days. But think about the old cities it makes much more sense. But Chachamim disallow it anyway. The sages says not allowed to. Chachamim אומרים כל אחד ואחד רשות בפני עצמו. It says each and every one is a private domain. כל גג וגג רשות בפני עצמו. It says what are you talking about? My roof is only my roof, not your roof. שכשם שהדיירים חלוקים למטה, just like we're going to divide them below the roof, בבתים שתחת הגגות, in the houses that are under the roofs, כך חלוקים הם בגגותיהם. They are also, we're going to separate the roofs. וכל זמן שלא ערבו ביניהם, and as long as they didn't make an eruv between them, אסורים הם לטלטל מגגו לגג חברו. You're not allowed to carry from one roof to another roof. Makes it easy, you don't have to worry about it.
The guy wants to take from the roof, you have, let's say you have his plates up on the roof and he wants to take it down to his house. You need to make an eruv.
That's right.
Right?
That's
so
right.
It's
He's not allowed to. He will not be allowed to. That's right. Very good. Very good. According to Rabbi Meir, he will not be allowed to. According to Chachamim, it's my domain, not somebody else's domain.
Right.
Yeah.
You can go and do it.
So I can go and do it. Very good. Rabbi Shimon אומר, Rabbi Shimon says, אחד גגות ואחד חצרות ואחד קרקיפות. Says Rabbi Shimon says, I can go from roof to roof, from roof to courtyard, from courtyard to karkafot is the place, you make a fence around an area and you put your stuff over there. You remember that's like migrash, like migrashim. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like a storage lot. I can carry from ever to ever to ever to. It's all one domain. It says the whole thing is one domain.
But how could it be?
That's what.
You wouldn't need a roof.
You don't need a roof. That's right. According to Rabbi Shimon. You don't need a roof in such a case. Yeah. כל גגות העיר, he says, all the walls of the city. אף שזה גבוה וזה נמוך, even this one is high, this one is low. וכל החצרות, all the courtyards, כל הקרקיפות, מגרשים לשמירת עצים וכדומה. These are places to keep wood, for example, שאינם יותר מבית סתיים. We learned that they can't be a very large area. כולם רשום אחתם. It says that they're all, when Shabbos comes in, they're all considered to be one domain. I can carry from all of them together. They all belongs to everybody. So, לכלים ששבתו בתוכן. So, if there's a vessel that is inside them, you can carry it to up the roof, down the roof, to another courtyard, this courtyard. בתוך אחד מהם, שהואיל וכל אלה אין תשמישם מיוחד ותדיר, because why? All these, you don't use them on a regular basis. נחשבים כולם כרשות אחת. They all look like one domain. ומטלטלים בכולם מזה לזה כלים ששבתו בתוכם. And you can carry in all of them from this to sim vessel that they are inside of them. Now, I'm not quite sure what Rabbi Shimon says. There's two ways to explain Rabbi Shimon. Does Rabbi Shimon says all the gagot you can do whatever to do it, all the karkefot you can do whatever you want, and all the courtyards you can do inside the courtyard whatever you want, or you can even go from gag to courtyard. I don't think he means you can even go from the roof to the courtyard. I think he means all the roofs are one thing. All the courtyard is, this courtyard is one courtyard. This karkaf is one karkaf. I think that's what he means, but I'm not sure.
But what does he mean?
So if you have a vessel inside this area,
Vessels are not usable?
no, that the person doesn't use the area.
Oh,
The area, because if you constantly live there, then it's private domain. That if over here you're not, yeah, okay. So, ולא לכלים ששבתו בתוך הבית. But it says you're allowed to carry from the roof to the court. I think it might even mean you're allowed to carry from the roof to the courtyard. Yeah, but it says, but you're not allowed to take your vessels from inside the house outside or to the roof. ולא לכלים ששבתו בתוך הבית, but not to the vessels that are inside your house. אבל כלים ששבתו בתוך הבית, but the vessels that you find inside the house, והוציאום בשבת לחצר על ידי העירוב, and you took them on Shabbat to the courtyard through the עירוב. In other words, they were not on the courtyard when Shabbos came in. אסור להוציאם לחצר אחרת. You will not be allowed to take them to another courtyard, אלא אם כן היוו שתי חצרות זו עם זו. Only if you made an eruv between the two courtyards, this one with this one. But even if I didn't make an eruv between my courtyard and your courtyard, and there was a vessel on Shabbat, I can carry according to him to the two courtyards. Chaim says, no, my domain is my domain, your domain is your domain. Yep. וכן הדין לגבי גג או קרקף, and this is the rule for a gag or a karkaf.
Why are you saying it? Because the vessel was outside. It's like Reshut
That the vessel was in that domain.
outside in the domain.
Yeah,
So
it belongs to that domain. Yeah, it belongs to that domain. Interesting enough, halacha keRabbi Shimon. Halacha is not like Chachamim, halacha is Rabbi Shimon. It says usually halacha is like Chachamim. What is happening over here? ובברייתא בגמרא מובא, and the Braita in the Gemara it's brought, Amar Rabbi, it says, Rabbi said, כשהיינו לומדים תורה אצל רבי שמעון בתקוע, it says, we went to learn Torah by Rabbi Shimon in תקוע, it says, I remember, היינו מעלים שמן ואלונתית מגג לגג ומחצר לחצר ומחצר לקרקף ומקרקף לקרקף אחר. It says we would take oil and some clothing, some rags, oil and rags, and we go from roof to courtyard, from courtyard to another karkaf. Yeah, we move throughout Shabbos, throughout everything. עד שהיינו מגיעים אצל המעיין, שהיינו רוחצים בו, until we will go to the mikveh. There was a spring over there that we will dip in it, and that's what we will do. And obviously this came from the previous generation. So even the Chachamim understand in this way, look, the previous generation is smarter than you, they did it, so therefore we go, Rabbi Shimon is correct, and this is what we go by.
you can go from a roof to a roof, chatzar.
That's right. Obviously there needs to be, the probably is, so you can do it in today's...
Right, no, but I'm saying...
In that time, because the houses were very close to each other, yeah. And as long, even in daughter, as long as the roof was not yours. You remember, the roof is not tadir. I mean, sometimes you use it, but usually it's not something that you use.
You can use it to hang your clothes.
I'm not. That's a good question.
Once a week.
That's good. If you use it to hang clothes, maybe that already make it a private domain.
Laundry, where are we going to put the clothes?
So maybe that's private. Maybe that use already makes it private domain, even according to them. Maybe it's like something that you will go out. I don't know exactly how often. There's going to be a thing, but you can imagine the idea. Okay.